The views and opinions of this broadcast do not reflect the views and opinions of Armed Media, New Productions, and its affiliates. Enjoy the show.
30 seconds.
Tastes just like candy.
Coming in.
What's up, everybody? Welcome to Ask for Candy, where we talk about healing, self-care, love, relationships, and what it takes to be amazing on the daily. Who I am Candace Harper, lovecoach.com, and my purpose with this podcast is to create healthy romantic relationships all around the world, and we're starting right here in the beautiful Celebrities Boutique in Teaneck, New Jersey.
Yes!
Celebrities Boutique is at 362 Cedar Lane, and it's where everyone can look like a star and where you can afford to look and feel rich and famous. And I'm here with the beautiful owner of Celebrities Boutique, my co-host, Nneka Celebrities Bell. Hi, honey.
Hi, how are you?
Hi,
everybody. Yes. I am Nneka Bell, as she stated. My purpose in life and with this podcast is to be of assistance to women. I'm a makeup artist, I'm a fashion stylist, and my goal is to ensure that our insides feel as good as our outside looks.
Woo! Yes, honey. And look who joined Sister Catrice.
Oh, hey, Catrice.
Sister Catrice. I'm so glad that you're back.
Yes, thank you for having me back.
I missed you that one
I
time.
know, my little one-day vacation.
Your little one-day vacation.
Okay.
I'm glad to have you back. So shout out to the Armed Radio peeps and all the people all around the world who might be listening in. Also, if you want to be able to check out replays and follow us along, I want you to go ahead and subscribe to us on Anchor, and I'll put the link in the post if you're on Facebook. And also subscribe to Ask for Candy, the YouTube channel, and Ask for Candy, the podcast on our YouTube channel. And when you subscribe, even if you're busy on a Monday night, you'll never miss a show. We got some changes afoot.
Yes, we have to talk about that.
Right? We got some changes coming up we're very excited about, but this is the time on the show when we share. Right now, I'm trying to figure out how I'm going to share without making too much. Okay, turning off the sounds. We can start our watch parties. Those of you who are watching, Sister Catrice, if you want to share with everyone, she says, hey, ladies.
Hey.
Share with everyone you know. Share in your groups. I'm going to share in my Ask for Candy, the podcast group.
Sounds
which I
good.
like to do a little watch party in there, right? Where are you sharing it?
I'm going to share to Celebrities Boutique business page.
Oh, yeah.
Right,
That's a good idea. I always forget to turn down the sound before I... So yeah, those of you who are out there, you guys can go ahead and share wherever you want to share. And also, if you have questions during the show, because we like for the show to be interactive, it's very conversational, and you have questions or you have things you want to say to us, or if you have thoughts that you don't necessarily want to share with all the people, you can email us at askforcandypodcast@gmail.com. But let me see. Now I'm trying to figure out how to get back to the original. Okay. The original actual live feed. Here we go. All right. Now.
All right, we good?
Everything in place. Hi, Travis. My Travis who just joined.
Hey, Travis.
You have your normal watch party going? Okay. So as you guys know, they're coming.
They're coming in.
Okay, good.
Okay.
As you guys know, Nneka and I love to have conversations. We love to keep growing and expanding. I'm a relationship coach, a growth workshop facilitator, and a professional matchmaker, here to teach and inspire radical self-acceptance in myself and others so that we can all have our best possible love life.
Sounds great. And who am I?
Who are you, Miss Nneka?
I am the owner, of several businesses.
Honey.
I'm a mother. I'm a wife. I'm an inspirational speaker. And I'm a professor. And I teach business and marketing at Metropolitan College, New York. I am here to educate and inject you with my learned knowledge. And I want to show you how you can be able to manage all of these things and be successful while doing so.
Yes, honey. Why am I so, I know I'm yellow.
Right.
But why
you
am I
are yellow.
today?
I don't know what's going on.
I'm like banana yellow right now.
You really are.
What?
Maybe it's this maybe you're matching.
I don't think I am matching.
Yeah.
But it's not the hat's fault. I like the hat. For whatever reason, I'm just like,
Yellow.
Child, I look like
You want me to try to turn down the light a little bit?
Well,
Turn down.
I don't even want to, because we were messing with it before, and I either go light bulb or
dark.
right. You can't see.
Well, we have an assistant here. You want to
we
see?
do.
Just
Madison,
see if you a little bit. Just
Madison,
a little bit.
our camera woman.
There it goes.
Wait, there we
right
go.
There. Come on, Madison.
Go ahead, Madison.
Yes,
our
honey.
future camera woman. Honey.
Okay.
Patrice says the ring light needs to be adjusted. Yes, thank you, Sister.
Thank
See,
you.
even your auntie knew.
Yes.
Right. It takes a village.
It really does. Obviously, because
Right.
we can't get it together after all these weeks.
After
We
all
still
these
getting struggling. Lord have
Patrick, I
mercy.
see Patrick joined. Okay, so now I have people who are commenting in the Ask for Candy watch parties. I don't
Okay.
know if I need to be toggling back and forth.
I mean,
I don't even know if I know how to do that properly.
see.
I'm gonna try. because
just give
I-
her some time, y'all.
a little soft shoe.
So yeah, so you see with this, it says live video and watch party
And watch
comments.
party
So I just have to
comments.
I go back and forth.
Okay.
I don't know if that works, but
We're figuring this out in real time, like
Yes.
we always are. Like I always am, for sure.
right.
All right, because I see a couple people comment. I see Vanessa. She said, "Turn the blue up." Yes, honey. Thank you. We had all these lighting people out there. Miles
know.
Anthony's giving us applause. Hi, honey.
Hey.
All right, I'm gonna open up this watch party as well,
Okay.
so that I can interact with the people over here, and then now we
Turn
can
your
toggle
volume
back
down.
and forth. Yeah.
Okay.
All right.
Sounds
good.
like a plan.
Okay,
We got
totally.
it.
Christine,
Thank you for
joined.
bearing with us.
Yes, thank you. Patrice says, I just shared with a few groups for the first time, not only my people. Oh, thank you.
Thank you.
We love Sister Patrice.
Yes, she's
Right?
so supportive.
She is.
All the way from Texas.
All the way from Texas. All right, so
Let's get
tonight
in.
and every Monday.
Ooh.
Usually I jump in with, that is why this is a conversation, but we're
Right.
having a conversation. It's
Yes.
what we do, right? We're not here to hand down a bunch of dating and relationship rules or rights and wrongs. We're not here to shame your love situation. Our only intention is to create audacious intimacy, stylishly seductive singlehoods, and healthy relationships. So tonight and every Monday we're going to do what we do, which is have conversations that engage, educate, and or enlighten all of us in the areas of self-love, sex, relationships, and vibrating high. So we're going to talk about our topic that we're doing this week, which I'm kind of excited to talk about with you because I feel like we have the our already built-in single girl, married girl structure,
Yes.
right? So we
Right?
get those two different perspectives. But before we do that, I want to talk about daily amazingness a little bit because I took a big step this week.
I took a big step.
You did? Tell
Yes.
us. Share.
No,
share.
tell me your big
You want me
step
to tell you
first.
mine first?
Yes, let's hear her big step first.
All right. So, okay, I know we're living in a time of body acceptance, which I believe in, and, loving yourself no matter what. I also am a big believer in health and fitness and stuff like that. But, I was born in the early 70s. And so, we came up at a time, I feel like, where body acceptance wasn't such a thing when we were young.
Right.
And so we're very conditioned and, certain things are ingrained in us. However, I gained a little weight since the holiday season.
Oh, really? A little
I
weight.
gained some poundage. I'm a woman
I
of a
mean,
certain age.
and I'm rubbing it in. I'm like a little weight, right?
Yes, thank you. And, I'm a woman of a certain age, and I feel like it's not just about looking good at this point. It's also about my health.
Yes.
And I'm starting to feel a little thickums.
Really?
Yes. So this week for my daily amazingness,
good.
I put down a little coin. It's not like a
Just a
crazy
little
investment
one.
for a diet and exercise program.
Good.
Right? But here's the thing about diet and exercise programs, because I'm very careful not to, I don't believe in fad dieting and stuff like that, or what they call deprivation dieting, where you eat no calories and try to
Right.
do that as long as you can and
That's
nobody
crazy.
can live on it.
Right.
But I actually found this program that is just a program for different exercises. So I always
Okay.
like to exercise, and I think switching it up helps your body.
Yes, it does.
And also, they give you menus for eating the right amount of food.
Oh, wow.
So I'm going to do 2,000 calories a day.
Okay.
Because that's exactly how many calories I need to be the weight that I want to be.
Okay.
And it's going to be 2,000 nutritious calories, not anything radical or crazy, but
That sounds
it's
good.
giving me structure.
Good. And if that's what you need.
That's what I need,
If
right?
that's what you need.
I'm blowing up like a balloon.
I don't see that much.
You don't?
I mean,
If it's all in the middle. Like I'm one of those people. I gain it in the middle.
So you know your body, though.
Yeah.
So you know
Right?
when you just start to feel uncomfortable.
Yes.
Yeah.
And the clothes don't fit the same.
Right.
That's what
I just
I'm
don't
feeling.
feel good.
You don't feel good
When I gain weight, I just don't feel good.
Yes.
So yeah, I'm
Like you
actually
can't, like the
losing as
confidence
well.
thing, right?
Yes,
Because you get on
definitely.
stage.
Yeah, that's
Right,
right.
and
I'm
sing
on this
songs.
smoothie, 10-day JJ smoothie, whatever it is. It works though.
Does
It's
it?
working. Yes.
Yeah.
Definitely. I lost 5 pounds. I'm very proud
Oh,
to
go
say.
ahead, girl.
Okay.
Right? Ow. But that's the thing too. Like I get up in front of people and talk. I feel like with growth conversations, you can be a little hefty and nobody's really judging you. But when you're a performer, it's
Right.
like there's more pressure, there's more expectation
Oh,
that
yeah.
you show out.
Yes.
Yeah. So
You need energy so that you can hold notes and
Right.
all that. Yes, definitely.
Yeah.
Oh,
Yeah.
congratulations.
Thank you.
I look forward to
Thank you.
hearing you and seeing
Well,
the results.
I
'cause
gotta
I'm
at
gonna be
least
looking
get back
for
to
it.
like, I don't know, child. I'm just trying to maintain my svelte.
Right.
You know, and I see my friend Ed who just joined. My friend Ed, who I love and adore, he and I went to high school together, actually
Oh,
since
wow.
5th grade.
Wow.
And I did a 90-day yoga challenge a few years ago, and when I completed the challenge, he sent me a present. He sent me a wallet.
That is so cool.
Right?
That
Like,
is
so
amazing.
Sweet. Ed, I remember you for that, and I'm not saying that if I do this 90-day challenge, you have to send me another gift, but just so you know, I'm on another 90-day challenge.
That is so. She's like, she got the wallet. Now
I
she
got
wants the
wallet.
pocketbook.
Right?
Right.
Or
Okay.
something to put in the wallet. I'll take that.
Okay. Yes.
Right?
Nikki.
What's she saying? Hi, Candy. It's Nikki Beck. I know, honey. Hometown peep. I also went to high school with Nikki as well.
Wow.
Just want to say how talented and engaging you ladies are. Oh,
Thank you, Nikki.
Yeah,
We
thanks,
appreciate
honey.
it. Wow.
Nikki's very talented too. She does roller derby, child.
Really?
Yes, she
Wow.
gets out there with the other women, just like throwing elbows and.
Oh Lord. All right, Nikki.
Right? We're very proud of you too, Nick.
Very proud.
Right. So what about you?
Oh
What you
Lord.
Oh, Lord. for your
Right.
family,
That's all I
maybe.
can say.
Yeah.
Okay, so I am going to share it. We're live. We have people on and they're watching.
Yes.
What I did was I actually, as you know, in my introduction, I own several businesses. So I own a construction business. It's called Celebrities Quality Painting Company. And I actually just submitted a bid this morning for $165,000.
Woo!
Yes, so
Yes.
I know, right? And so this is my first time. I know, coins. Yeah, they already contacted me once. They just had one question, and so I'm just looking forward to seeing where this goes.
Yes.
So there's going to be a few people that are being employed, whoever's unemployed out there. So yeah, so my goal is to have people working. That's what I want.
And you're going to achieve it.
Yes.
Like way even bigger than your biggest
Yes.
vision. That's amazing.
I am so thank you.
I love that, honey.
I
That's
know.
awesome.
It's a big deal. It's a big
Yeah.
deal. So I'm looking forward
Big
to
things
it.
gone.
I know, right?
Monica.
Lord have mercy.
Yes, honey.
I know. See, she didn't even know it.
I didn't know.
Nope.
We hadn't talked about it.
I
But I'm glad you
know.
saved it for the show. Cause
I know, right? So it's a real reaction.
Right? It's good stuff. That is awesome.
Thank you.
See?
Thank you.
Walking the walk, talking the talk, walking and talking. And
Yes,
doing
and I'm
it.
going to share more about that since we're talking about that anyway. So
Yes.
yeah, we'll jump in it and I'll share some more things about that.
Absolutely.
Yes.
And it's a perfect segue because today we want to talk about this idea of relationship readiness and this myth that an independent woman can't find love because she's too independent. Like that there's a such thing that, you know, independence is not sexy or attractive or all this, you know, sort of like crackle. And the reason this came up is because in the matchmaking, what I'm finding is a lot of the women who invest a lot of money as clients are these very like independent, I've got it all straightened out kind of women, and they all come on feeling like the reason they're single is because they're independent.
Wow.
And I want to bust that myth.
That is so not true.
It's so not true.
So not true.
Right?
Wow.
Because dependency doesn't make you like eligible either. You know
Right.
what I mean?
Okay.
That's
is
like
so
the assumption
true.
that if you're a dependent woman that you would then have somebody.
That is so untrue.
Right?
Oh my God.
So I want us to like talk about that and like bust that up and, you know. And I feel like you're a good example because you are an independent woman and you're in a marriage. So I
Yes.
feel like I want that perspective. And other ladies out there, whether you're in or out of a relationship who are independent and strong women, I want you guys to join in the conversation too and and talk about whether you feel like that's also your experience. I refuse to claim that.
Me too.
Because I've gotten in relationships as an independent woman, and it wasn't my independence that had the relationship break down.
It was all the other stuff.
All the other stuff, other stuff that I had no business bringing. And maybe it showed up in my independence in certain ways, but we don't want to be in that conversation where we're telling women that it's not okay to be able to take care of yourself, right? Or that it's not okay to be strong.
Right, because it definitely is okay.
Yeah.
But it also depends on the man that you're with.
Absolutely. Talk about it, honey.
100%. I mean, like I said, it's no shame to my game. It's my third marriage. So I have experience in, marriages. And I would say that this marriage right here, my husband allows me to be who I am.
Yeah.
Right? Without him feeling insecure.
Yeah.
You understand? I include him in on it. He wasn't about business as much as he is now as when he met me.
Yeah.
You understand? Now he understands it. He gets it. And he's like, boo, go ahead.
Yeah.
Do you. You know what I mean? Because he knows. And it makes me feel good. I never have to dumb myself down. I can speak the way I, want to speak. It kind of turns him on.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And I love it. Right?
That's awesome.
So, let's talk about it.
Let's talk about it.
Right.
And I want to ask you, too, because, what I think that comes down to is being able to, at some point, have had, whether you were doing it consciously or not, an enrollment conversation with him where you had him understand that your success is his success.
It's his success.
Yeah.
100%.
Do you feel like there was a time where you guys had an actual conversation where that was laid out, or is that something that built over time?
No, we actually had a conversation.
You did.
And let me tell you, I'm about to just
Was it
be
pillow
real
talk?
transparent. No, it wasn't even a pillow.
It wasn't?
So what happened was, for those of you who don't know, my husband is the lead singer to a group. It's called Double Exposure. They came out, I think, in the 70s or the late 60s. I don't know. But anyway, he took the place of the lead singer who passed away. Right, I think his name was Jimmy. So they sang 10%, My Love Is Free, and all those things, just to update you guys. So anyway, when I encouraged him, because they were looking for a singer, they reached out to him, and I'm like, all right, boo, just go ahead and do it, because that was his dream. He watched them growing up, and so I'm the one that recorded him and everything for his submission video.
Yeah.
And so they loved him. They called him back, and so I'm like, wait, they called you back? And he's like, yeah. And I'm like, well, wait, so you want to travel? You want to leave me? I went crazy. No, I did not get into this marriage because I thought he was like,
Yeah.
hold on.
After you helped him get it.
After I helped him because I didn't know he was going to get it, right?
You're like, I didn't think you actually were going to get it.
Right. I was just being the supportive wife. But then when he got it, I started panicking, like, oh my God. Because people travel or whatever. He was like, boo, no, that's not what they're doing. Okay? So he made me feel better. And then that's what made us have this conversation because he never saw that side of me.
Gotcha.
And he was like, listen, I'm never going to just get up and leave if you can't come with me.
Yeah.
Right? So however successful I am, I'm doing it for both of us.
Yeah.
So actually, even though I'm the one that owns several businesses, he had to
Talk to you about
talk to me.
You hear it, Nate?
He's like, look, my success is your
It's your success, right? All the money is coming home.
Yeah.
And then,
if that's
that
the
made me feel
station.
secure.
No, I got the,
and I just,
YouTube on.
I love that.
right?
Yeah,
I
and I
got
think that's
Fox
so
News.
important. I mean, we always talk on the show about communication and stuff
Is
like
that what it is?
But I think when it comes to love relationships, that's what's so important, and that's the key between
All
what
right,
can
I'm
stop
shutting
us
my
compared
mic
to what
off so
can
you
have
should
us
be able to hear
actually
nothing
work.
now.
Right.
Or partner with somebody.
All
right?
right.
Yeah.
So, we want to
Bye-bye.
debunk these myths about, if I'm this, if I'm that, then I can't be in a relationship, or if I, stand up for myself, or if I do for myself, that makes me somehow unviable or unlovable, or, all of that stuff. Because that's a perfect example of how it's really just about aligning with somebody.
That's
who
all it is.
understands.
That's all it is.
Yeah.
Wow.
Without thinking, too, that there's never going to be conflict, but just the willingness to have the conversations that have you line up.
Right.
Right?
Right.
I think.
Yes, it's so important to have conversations.
Yeah.
And that's why, I just loved my husband. And I hate to keep saying it because it almost sounds like it's fake.
What, that you love
Right?
him?
Yeah, because, it's like, I love my husband. No, but when
But you guys aren't like those. You know how like some people you can tell when they're together that they're trying too hard, like
Right.
they're just too much, like trying to make sure everybody knows.
Right.
We love each other, but y'all aren't like that. So it
No.
doesn't sound like that.
I'm just
Y'all
so
are
appreciative,
cool.
and we talked about that actually today. He was saying, "I wish that I met you years ago," right? And I was like, "No." I said the reason why this marriage works is because we have something to compare it to.
Yeah.
And now we really appreciate each
You had
other.
some
We
growing up to do.
Yeah, I had to go through all of that crazy I went through because now I'm like, you good,
Right? And I can appreciate you.
I can
because I've grown
appreciate
up a little bit.
Yes,
Yeah.
grown up, and I went through some things,
Yeah.
and we went through some things.
Yeah.
So, but he was like, no, because he feels like he's already past 50,
Yeah.
so half of his life is over. You know,
Yeah.
so if I'd have met you at 30, then I would have had 80 years with you versus, and I'm like, calm down, let's just enjoy this next half.
Right.
That's it.
You know it's good when you wish there was more time.
Right, right.
I
It's
think
true.
that's
It's true.
that's a beautiful thing.
I know.
Right.
Shut up, Candy. That's a beautiful thing.
It's a beautiful thing. But I like having that conversation because I feel like when examples are there, it shows us all that it's possible.
It is possible. Please
Yeah.
be encouraged, seriously. But just pray about it.
Yeah.
And I just ask God to pray. Like I said in another video, one of our videos, when I said if you'd have asked me what my husband looked like, I would have never described the man that I'm with.
Yeah.
Right? So, but what I did was I allowed God to do it.
Yeah.
Not me. Because what I was looking for, oh, Lord of mercy.
Yeah.
He had long dreads. He was my husband is bald headed. Okay?
He was like a chocolate Jason Momoa.
You know what I mean? Right.
Because that's how I'm thinking chocolate Jason Momoa.
Right,
That's-
this way. Look.
And God is like, you might not get a chocolate
I
Jason
promise you,
Momoa.
he's gonna be short, bald head, light skin, and he's gonna walk in and talk about, I'm in love.
Right? And I
Right.
can't even judge him because I'm bald-headed, light-skinned.
Oh yeah.
Right? But,
is
I think
hilarious.
the thing about it, too, is like it's not just about the keeping up hope, which that's the most important thing, that we always keep open to what's possible for ourselves, but also that we get out of the conversation that makes us wrong for who we are. Because I think part of finding that person and even when we're praying and meditating about it, what God's Spirit, what love wants us to do is to accept ourselves and be in rightness.
Yes.
And if you're an independent woman who's out there surviving, thriving, doing it for yourself, if you have a story that's a wrongness that someone else can't be attracted to, that's what's standing in your way, not the independence, the fact that
Right.
you're making it something wrong with you.
Yes.
And I get why we do, because I think a lot of times, like it was years ago, and I love her dearly, but my aunt, who's married to my uncle by blood, they came to visit me here in New York, and I've been living, probably, 10 years?
Wow.
Yeah, and on my own, and
Wow.
I've always worked and, did what I needed to do to make it on my own and stuff, and luckily I've had really good friends over the years when I did get in trouble or needed help, but for the most part, I've been my sole provider, and so she said to me, she's like, you're never going to find a man because you're too independent, and I thought about that, recently, because like I said, I've been talking to all these women who are talking about how they feel like their independence is holding them back, and I came up with what people really mean when they're saying that.
Okay, let's hear that.
And why we think that we have to make it something wrong about ourselves, right?
I wanna hear.
Yeah.
Wow.
So what I really believe that my aunt meant, which I'm not saying this to say that you have to make meaning out of everything people say to you, but I think from her perspective, being a woman who, married to my uncle's very much a provider and a strong personality and somewhat controlling, and she's the type of woman who, they're also. I don't think they're baby boomers, but they're whatever generation is between. Yeah, like an older generation than Generation X. But she comes from a generation where, as a woman, you did let your husband take care of everything.
Gotcha.
And provide and feed you and all of that stuff. So from her perspective, for me to be someone surviving on my own and not waiting for a man to come along to figure it all out, to her, that's, you're too headstrong, you're too willful, You know, like these are all things that people associate with negativity.
Gotcha.
And they're not
true.
negative.
It's not
things.
negative. It's not negative.
Yeah.
Wow.
Like there's nothing wrong with these things, especially if you're using your powers for good.
Right.
Right? And I always say, I don't know any weak women. I don't know any women who aren't headstrong.
Right.
Because as a willful woman, that's what I attract.
And that's what I was going to say. Right. To attract.
Right.
That's how we found each other, right?
That's how we found each other. Right? But you know, I think the thing is that what we always want to be reminding ourselves is that these are things that they can be unworkable if we don't use them for positivity in our lives.
That's true.
Right?
That is true.
But they also are so much of who we are and how we make the world what we need the world to be, whether for ourselves or for other people. And so there's nothing wrong with it.
Right.
It's just knowing how to use your powers for good.
Right. And when you were talking, one thing that I remembered, when I started dating my ex-husband, when we were just boyfriend and girlfriend, his elevator broke down in his building. And we had a mattress because he just got a new mattress, and he was like, "Oh my God, how am I going to get it upstairs?" And I was like, "Okay, don't worry about it." And I picked the whole mattress up. The whole queen size mattress, put it on like an African, you know how the Africans put and put it and started walking up. And then when I got up there, he was like, "I am not impressed." And I was like, "What?
You took that away from me."
Yeah, he was like, "Don't do that. Don't do that." And I'm like, because I was so used to it.
Yeah.
Right? So now I'm you see how many years ago that was? My daughter's 16, and that was before she was born.
Yeah.
And I still remember.
Yeah.
Because I'm like,
so used to powering through things.
Yeah,
like,
just
okay, I
getting
got
it done.
this.
Right, because you standing there talking about, I wonder how we going to do it. Don't worry how we going to do it. I got this, you know?
And they get all emasculated.
Right, and he did not like that.
Yeah.
So, yeah, being independent is one thing, but allowing a man to be a man is the other.
I agree with that. However, and I have a story that's similar to that, because the guy that I was with a guy for 13 years. Like, we, got close to the altar, but that didn't happen, thankfully. Not that he was a great person. We just had no business, long-term being married.
Gotcha.
But one time...
Well, you could do short-term like I did.
Huh? What, do short-term marriage?
No jump.
That probably would have worked out good.
Right,
But he had bought a stereo, right?
I am not promoting that. I was just kidding. Go ahead.
That's all right, though. Ain't nothing wrong with that either. But he had bought a stereo, and he was like at school all day or something. 'Cause this is back in the day in our 20s, and he was in med school and stuff. And I put the stereo together.
He was not impressed.
Oh, he was not impressed. I mean, whatever the opposite of impressed is.
Right.
He was really upset and felt really emasculated.
Wow.
Now, with both those examples of those stories,
yes.
I get the perspective of the man. A man who feels like, it's a consistent thing where a woman kind of usurps. And I do think that it is possible to get in the way and usurp sometimes, and that doesn't feel good to them. But I also think that there's something
to a but.
There's always a but.
Right.
Right.
When you say but, you negate what you just said.
You just negate the whole thing.
Right, so.
The other side of that, though, is that... I know. The other side of that, though, is that I feel like men who are really secure... Mm-hmm. They may not necessarily be impressed when you usurp, but it doesn't tear them down either. It's like they can communicate to you, baby, look, I got it. You don't have to do it. But it doesn't, like, if you have done it, or you go ahead and take that mattress up, it doesn't diminish them, so they then have to diminish you.
Right.
Which I think that's where you run into trouble, and that's the kind of man you don't want to deal with.
True.
It's not don't ever always try to be demure, even when you don't feel demure. It's if you have a moment of not being demure where you overstep or you take over in a masculine way, the idea is that you're with a man who can say, I got this. I don't need you to do all that.
Right.
I love you for trying, but you don't need to do that, as opposed to, now you're going to make me look like I'm not a man, and now let me put you down, right?
Right. I would just walk the mattress right back downstairs and say, go ahead now, you take it up.
I would drop it.
I'm just that crazy, okay?
Look, take it up on
let the world know Nneka is crazy.
What do you want to talk about crazy? I probably would have dropped it on his head. Like, so in my 20s, No, honey.
That is hilarious. Be like, here, take it.
Right? Go ahead, take it.
Exactly.
I'm good. I don't have to lift up nothing else for
Right.
you. But, yeah, like I do think you're right. There is a certain level of being able to dial it back because we don't want to be, we talked about this before. I forget which show we were talking about masculine and feminine energy. Mm-hmm. You don't want to be in your masculine energy like bumping heads about things and stuff like that. And there's nothing wrong with, falling back on things. But I do think it's a good barometer of a good man if he can deal with it if you do.
Right. Right.
Yeah.
I don't know.
I'm just saying. What are the people on your watch party saying?
Oh no, they just laughing. I think we both. Kenya. She was
we
laughing.
did. We combined them finally.
Yes.
How did we do that?
I don't know.
I see Benjamin. Hi, honey. I wonder if he's still here. He says good evening. Hi, my Kenya.
Yes.
Hi, people. Hi, Michael. Hi, Rory just joined, and Kevin. Michael Ronan. Hi, you guys. Welcome, welcome, welcome. So and some other things that I think people say when they tell you you're independent, that your education intimidates them.
That is so crazy.
Yeah,
that is crazy.
Do you feel like, have you ever gotten that from somebody where you feel like, not necessarily a love relationship, but you feel like they're kind of trying to get you to dial it back because something that you said intimidates them?
I mean, the only person, honestly, I just got my master's in May. The only person that had a problem with me is one of my students.
Really?
She emailed me. I think you talk to us and belittle us and the way you speak and what? Yeah, she was a little, but something was a little wrong with her.
How did you handle it? Like,
I just, no, because I just ignored her.
Yeah.
And she actually became one of the better students, but she, because I speak real to them. I'm not, do your homework, right?
Get it
study for your exam, or I'm failing you.
Excuses.
Right. No. So she just felt like the way I speak, the words that I use, because I don't allow them to say money.
Yeah.
It's a business class. Let's talk about revenue, profit. You understand? Yeah. And she's like, she felt belittled because I wouldn't allow them to say that. Stuff like that. But that was the only time that anybody ever said anything about my education.
But that's a perfect example, though, because I feel like when people do that, when people try to dial you back, like you're talking too smart for them, or the things you're saying is above their head, and then they try to you're trying to make me feel small. It's their own insecurities coming out.
That's all that is.
Right? Yeah. And I think sometimes when we are growing ourselves and we look to be big in the world and show up in a big way in the world, there will be those people who it's vexing to them, so they have to then, tell you that you belittled them or you made them feel not smart. But they already had that in there.
Right.
And she already had that.
She already had it in
mind,
there.
right?
Exactly.
And every time you said something, meanwhile, you're in a class, honey, you're supposed to be learning.
Hello.
Every time you said something that was out of her understanding, she's taking it as an attack.
Right.
Rather than, and I think that's part of this whole being too independent. When people tell you that you're too strong, too independent, too this, too that, that's their own insecurities that are speaking.
That's all. Catrice said, what did Catrice say? She said, I think I'm very independent, and I truly let my man lead. Now, so because I've known this young lady for 43 years, my sister, she's the reason why I'm in business. Nobody in my family ever owned a business until my sister. Wow. And if they did, well, my father did, but he didn't raise me. I didn't find that out until years later, that he owned a business, but my sister was the one that I knew that actually owned a business. But let's talk about submission, right? Because my sister's very submissive. And
that's a hot button word.
Yes, and I don't understand how. So, Catrice, you really, really, really need to chime in on this, because me and her always have that conversation.
Yeah.
Because she's independent but submissive. Like, what?
I feel like I wish we could bring Catrice in.
I know.
Catrice, tell us, your thoughts about, she says, I truly let my man lead. Talk about that a little bit. We're going to keep talking, but tell us what that means for you and what that looks like, and because I feel like submission is a very hot button word in this day and age. I think that a lot of people get very antsy around that word, especially people who consider themselves to be feminists. Mm-hmm. I consider myself to be a humanist. I believe in equality and all of that stuff, and I believe in women getting ahead, and I believe in overcoming oppression and all of that stuff. But I'm also also very much a humanist because I don't believe that any group should get forward in order to put another back, and I don't believe that that's the intention for any group that wants to move forward. But when it comes to the word submission, I think as strong women, independent women, a lot of feminist women, that triggers a lot of feelings, right?
It does.
Like, what does that look like? What does that mean? In the Christian sense of the word, there are rules around it in the Bible, around wives submitting to their husbands. And if you don't believe in biblical or any other older religions, there's still a certain biological dynamic to what it means to be able to submit to each other. But, people, I think, especially in this day and age, struggle with that word submission.
They do.
And what that means.
Wow.
So, yeah, I'd love to hear what Catrice has to
I
say
know.
about it. I think submission in any kind of partnership is important on a lot of levels, because I think that we come in a relationship, let's say it is a romantic relationship, with our different energies, right? We, as men and women, we both have both feminine and masculine energies.
Yes, we do.
But there's times when, like, as a woman in my feminine energy, a man can't be more powerfully feminine than I am in a way that's positive. I don't think, and vice versa.
I don't think so.
Right?
Right.
I know I'm making it sound like it's complicated.
You are. You know you do that. It's like my mind is like, wait.
Like what?
Right.
It sounds like a paradigm wrapped in an
promise
enigma. But I think there are times when, women, I think we're influencers.
Go ahead, I'm listening.
In the sense that, what did she say? I think,
No. Because if you... Go ahead, no.
I think, John just joined. I think that's what that is, the next window that John joined.
Okay.
Yeah. But I think that when it comes to submission, I do think that it's good that women can influence their man in a way that is authentically inherent to who she is. Like in our feminine energy, I think that we can have an influence over a man, and it's not and a man would have to submit to that. Like, I've dated men who they can't be coaxed or influenced into anything, and to me that's a turn off.
Right.
Like trying new foods,
definitely,
or going places or things like that. And if my feminineness or whatever their physical attraction is to me, or my conversation around enrollment, trying to get them to do something that's fun for both of us, or could be fun for both of us, or that it's something new for us to try out. Like, to me, a man that won't even try,
that's a turn off.
That's a turn off, because that's a submission thing.
Yeah.
And vice versa. Like, if a man were to me, like, I want to go try this thing, I'd be like, hell yeah, let's do it.
That's how I am.
Right? Adventure food, things like that. And that's part of submission.
Yes.
What does Katrina say? She's coming in now. Okay, what's she say? I ran my own business for years. When I was at work, I was the boss. I was in charge. And even now, I have an elevated role at work. I do not need, nor do I want to take the lead in my personal life. He is the head, and I am the neck. Okay.
Wow.
Woo, go ahead,
I love it.
She says, I use my superpowers if I need to, for good, not evil. Okay, I
love
that.
it. Yes, Catrice.
And go ahead.
No, I was saying what Kenya said. She said, the word submission makes me antsy because I know too many people who are domineering, and we tend to clash a lot. Yeah,
I get that.
Yeah.
I mean, I think, though, that's where a lot of us clash in romantic relationships, because I think the way that we are powerful as women is different than the way men are powerful. But a lot of times we try to show up in our masculine energy, or they try to show up in a feminine energy, which is that kind of like, let me just give it up and not, release and flow and not be powerful or do anything. Not powerful is the wrong word. I'm using the wrong word. When a man is in feminine energy and he's just kind of like going with things and not taking charge of anything, and and that's his baseline, it can be very unworkable with a woman who wants to be in her feminine energy.
Right.
You have two people who are just
that's not going to work.
Yeah.
Right.
Like there's no balance of energies, right?
Definitely need balance.
And if a man is in his masculine energy, which is his most powerful place, and you're in your masculine energy,
that's not going to work.
It's just this.
Yes.
Right? So that's the idea, is that we're trying to find a balance, trying to find that balance.
I've learned learned to see it coming. So if I see that he wants to be masculine, I would take the feminine role.
Yeah.
Even if I'm in my inside, especially it depends on the situation.
Yeah.
If I feel like I am masculine, I would just be quiet.
Yeah.
And allow. But I had to learn that.
Yes.
That's all. You know.
Totally.
I've learned so much. I'm so proud of myself.
But I think that talks to what Patrice is talking about, finding that balance. Like when she runs her own business and she's at work and she's the boss, it requires that decision making. It requires that speaking up and saying exactly what's on your mind and hitting home with the truth and all of that stuff. That's very, solutions oriented, forward thinking. That's all the masculine energy coming out. And it's workable for when you're leading at work.
Exactly.
And like she said, when she goes home, it's like, I flow, honey. Like
that's how she just flows.
Right?
And I'm like, how do you do that?
I have a feeling she has a lot of influence over her husband.
She does.
Because that feminine flow will have a man doing anything. A decent one.
Yes.
A decent one. Yeah. Like one who just, he's all in his feminine. He don't want to do nothing. Like, yeah.
Yeah, she definitely has an amazing husband. I love my brother-in-law, yes.
Aww.
He's an example. Before I was married, like, I watched what he did for my sister.
Yeah.
It was the bomb.
Was it?
Seriously. And not that we had so much money.
Yeah.
It's how he took the money he had and created, took her out of the hood into a house. Like, that blew my mind.
Like, made a
because
life.
we never, and had the whole 2 sons, like, everything. It was just beautiful.
Yeah.
He did good. He did good.
See, I love that. I love that. But I think that's the balance that we're looking for. And I think that, like we were saying earlier, it's really important that as independent women, as strong women, that we understand that it's okay to find that balance of submission.
Definitely.
And it's okay to be strong and independent, and how to have all those things live inside of you and live inside of you in harmony.
Yes.
Especially for like when I go back to the women that I'm working with matchmaking wise, a lot of them, I always say that people show up in different areas of their love life all the same way. So even when I'm coaching someone, I can tell by how a coaching client shows up in our coaching relationship, how they show up in love relationships. Because we go at our love life, no matter whether it's how we show up on an online dating site, how we go out on dates, how we are in a relationship, we approach all of it the same way.
Yes.
Whether it means that I have to control everything, or it means that I get resistant, and I can see it in each of my different clients. But the thing about it is that with all of them, they're all very strong women, and they're all very, they're survivalists, and they know how to put it together for themselves. But the most important thing is that they're in resistance of it. Like they're feeling like it's a conflict with what they want, and that's the thing that's standing in their way.
Wow.
Is seeing it as a conflict and not seeing how they can use their powers for good.
Wow. That is such good. Okay. Right.
I'm talking to death.
No, it's good. It's good. It's
Did
good.
I make it make sense?
Yeah, no, it definitely makes sense.
Oh, good.
Definitely.
Good.
So
Yay.
you said, what did we have here?
So yeah, those are just some of the things that I think that people are trying to say, like that we talked about. So when someone tells you you're too independent, they're telling you that you're triggering their insecurities.
Gotcha.
That your education or your power is intimidating to them, or that you're too bossy, controlling, outspoken. All of that, you don't have to take it on. But what's important is to hear the helpful feedback in all of that, especially when it comes to a love relationship, right?
Yes.
So, like we were just talking about, being independent can sometimes require a masculine energy or even a controlling nature that doesn't necessarily work in partnerships or relationships.
Yeah.
And Catrice just said it, like she balanced out, what she did at work and how she was the boss with who she was at home.
Love it. And
Right?
Kenya said, I don't mind being in my feminine role, but some men take it too far with their masculinity, and they take my softness for weakness. Wow.
That's interesting. Well, Kenya and I have worked together, and we've had this conversation. We've talked about this a lot. And I think there is something to be said for men who know what to do with a woman who's in her feminine energy. And I think that just as with men, you can tell if you're dealing with a healthy man based on his own confidence level and how he shows up. Same thing for women. So when we're confidently in our feminine energy, because there's a difference between our feminine energy and a feminine role, and what's considered a feminine role. Like a feminine role is like Donna Reed, 50s housewife. I cook for you and make you feel like a king and do all of these things, and I'm submissive in a sort of a manipulative way, because this is what I'm supposed to do, so I'm fitting in this structure. Right. But a feminine energy just means that I have a flexibility, I have a flow, I don't need to fight you.
Right.
I give you my word and my honesty, but I can stand in it without fighting for it. Mm-hmm. It doesn't have to be resistance. I'm not in resistance. I'm there for what works. I'm not there for what doesn't, and I'm confident in that. That's feminine energy. Right. So what you want to do, Kenya, and anybody else out there who feels the same way, is you just want to always be in your awareness. Am I flowing in a feminine energy, or am I fitting into a feminine role that says I'm supposed to do this, this, and that?
That was
two
good.
Different things.
That was good.
Right? Thank you, honey.
Yes.
Sometimes I layer all over. But
Okay. What is it?
Sometimes we are in survival mode for so long that we don't know how to let anyone in. So that's some feedback to take.
Yes.
When people are responding that you're too independent. Have you? And I've been there, and I still struggle with that sometimes. Like having been in surviving on my own mode for so long that like letting someone in, it takes something for me to do that.
That's where I am right now in my marriage. Right. Yeah. So my husband is actually the breadwinner, although I own the businesses, right? Because all my businesses are brand new. We've been here since October.
Yeah.
I opened up the construction company in July. So, me always, because I work for the city, I always have big checks coming in. This is the first time that I'm actually depending on him, and it's a little scary.
Yeah.
I'm like, wow. But I love where I'm at, because I know that it's temporary, but I love being able to see that it's okay.
Yeah.
That it's okay to be taken care of.
Yeah.
Right? And I love that he's supporting me, and we're gonna be all right.
And it's like you have to practice it a little bit, right?
Yeah, definitely.
I mean, I have to say that, and we're going to make an announcement about it a little bit, even with like friendships and partnerships. So I feel like you're somewhat of a business partner, also my employer. Like we have a lot of levels of our partnership. But like we recently have decided, big announcement, we're changing the schedule a little bit with the podcast.
Yes.
So, those of you who come on live, we're going to be live on Wednesdays at 7 now.
Yes.
But the show is still going to also air on Mondays. So you'll have two options each week. You can catch last week's show on Monday, and then we'll be live Wednesdays at 7. So I've been doing this podcast for 2 years on Mondays at 8, and then I met Miss Nneka, who I was like, has to be my podcast partner for so many reasons. Close to the vest and be in control of it. It was something that I had to like emotionally get off of in order for me to say, okay.
There was so much resistance.
There was resistance.
Oh, I mean, I understand after doing a podcast for
2 years.
2 years, what, 100 episodes?
100 episodes.
Well, I came on with what, episode 99?
Yes. Or no, was it 100? I thought you were 100.
I came on at 100? No, I think I did 99.
Okay.
Well, whatever. She did 99 podcasts all by herself.
Point to an example. But don't say
I mean, different,
there were other people and stuff, but different levels of it. I was the constant.
Correct, right. And she only
called
times that she called up the show in 2 years.
Yeah.
That is what I call commitment. So when I came along and I'm like, listen, Mondays are not working for me. We can try to work something out. She was like, no, I've been doing it for 2 years. And I'm like, okay, Candace, it's okay. I promise you. So yeah, we decided to do it on Wednesdays because we're both here in New Jersey on Wednesdays.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
And it just makes more sense.
It makes more sense. And what it does is it has me in practice of allowing someone else in to what I have built as a structure, and being able to say, okay, you know what, it's worthy, it's a worthwhile partnership, and it's worth it to allow. But that's, the kind of thing that shows up in partnerships, I think, for strong women. It's like when you have survived in something for so long, and even if it's not, because it's not like, it's making me millions or anything like that. Even if it's not, at some pinnacle of wherever you want it to be, just being able to open up and allow someone else to kind kind of influence how you're going to do things.
Right.
Or, do it in a different way to accommodate that person. And so, that I have to be honest, like full disclosure, emotionally, it took something,
God,
even though I'm like, Nneka is my co-host. Like, there's no doubt, probably like day one, I felt that way. It took something, and I have to say, credit to you.
What did I do?
You are probably like one of the only people, I can only think of maybe 3 people in life that I would change a schedule like that, like change a life schedule like that for. And I don't say that to be a martyr.
No,
because I don't want you to feel bad about it or anything.
Yeah, no.
But it's a credit to, your value to me, and I feel like that's one thing that sometimes we block ourselves off from moving forward with people, whether friendships, romantic, business partnerships, because we won't do that.
Right.
And what had me go ahead and be like, just do that, is that I know for myself that I've done that in the past where I wouldn't change something and it left no room for the other person.
Right.
So I was like, you know what? Look, I know, right? We're going to have so much fun. Yes. The big announcement. And Joe Savino joined. Joe Savino is Armed Radio. He says,
Hey,
girls are
Joe.
great. Hi, Joe.
Yes.
So, our big announcement is that on social media from now on, we are going to be live Wednesdays at 7.
We'll send you a reminder for next week, because I know the ones that have been coming on, for the last 2 years.
Yes.
You're used to Mondays, but we're just going to go to Wednesdays. And you guys tell us how you like it. It's a little earlier.
It's a little earlier.
Because we started at 7 versus 8.
Yeah.
But it's on a Wednesday in the middle of the week. And,
it'll be,
it's going to be okay.
Yeah,
it's experimental. Let's see.
Yeah.
So,
all right.
You all right?
I'm okay.
Like she's having a funeral. Like,
all right. Got to mourn the old ways and keep moving forward. Joe says, sounds good.
Thanks, Joe.
It's good. So here's the thing that I wanted to share. We're already at 8:52, and I want to make sure that we get whatever announcements. But I wanted to share with everybody this thing about relationship readiness. Like with matchmaking, what I find is a lot of people, may or may not be fully ready. I think there are questions that we can ask ourselves to see if we're ready for a relationship.
Okay, I want to hear
And tell me what you think too, because tell me if it's some stuff that crossed your mind before or even while you're in a relationship.
Okay.
And even if you're already in a relationship, I feel like asking yourself these questions will help with, however you want to move your relationship forward.
Sounds good.
Right?
Yep.
So the first one is to always be willing to ask yourself, what would be the purpose of being in a relationship, and does it align with my personal purpose? So if you're already in a relationship, you want to be able to look at, does it align with my personal purpose? Right? And if it doesn't, that doesn't mean you have to get out of it. It means, what do we need to do in order to get in alignment with our own, do I know what my purpose is?
Do you know what your purpose is? That's the question.
Yeah. Who am I trying to be in the world? Who do I want to be? What is my why? Why do I get up every morning?
I love it. That was one of the questions when I first met my husband, when we got together, because he just sang downtown at Groove. Remember, I took you or whatever. And I said, well, where do you see yourself in the next 5 years? Like, what do you want? You're singing, yes. You're passionate about it. But, where's it going?
Yeah.
And he said, well, I'm good. I'm good where I'm at. I said, really? I said, it's funny that you're good where you're at, because I see so much more in you.
Yeah.
And when I said that, it was like nobody ever spoke that life into him.
Yeah.
And now you see him. You saw
him. Now he's moving, shaking. He's doing stuff. He's
doing a video. He's about to have this concert, and he's just loving it.
Yeah.
But and then I look back and I'm like, speaking of the devil.
He's cool.
Yeah.
He's like, I want to be on the show.
Right. But then I look back. When we look back, I'm like, remember when you say you were good where you're at? Look at where you were and look at where you're at now.
Yeah.
And he was like, he was just, just so grateful that I had that conversation with him.
I love that.
Yeah.
So it's possible. Like if you're already in a relationship now, this purpose conversation is a really good way to bond you even further, right?
Yes.
Yeah. Like
have the conversation.
Have that conversation for both of you. And if you're single, this is a perfect time to be figuring out, like, how am I purposeful? And if I want a relationship, why? And what do I want this relationship to do around my purpose?
Yes.
How is it going to align with me?
Yes.
Right? The next question is, what do I value most passionately at my core? At my core. Like, we have those things that are just so unbelievably important. Some people are very family oriented, and family is at their core. So if they're going to get in a relationship with someone or be in a relationship with someone, they have to have that alignment, right?
Yes, definitely.
For some people, it's their success as far as like who they are in the world, like how many people they reach in the world. For me, what's valuable at my core is that I touch a lot of lives. change a lot of people's minds about things that don't work, and have people connecting and loving each other. Like, that is valuable at my core. And if I were to align with somebody, I
Was it always like that though?
It was, but I was in resistance of it.
Okay.
Like real opposition of it. I've always been that person, even on jobs, at school. I've always been that go-to person when it came to, like, whether it was relationships or advice and things like that. But for the longest time, like, I sort of resisted it. Like I didn't see it as a calling.
I feel the same way.
Really?
And it's so crazy because it all started when I used to drive the city bus, and people would get on and I would sing because that's how I got through it.
Yeah.
And so one day a young lady came up and she said, I was going to commit suicide, but because of you, whatever that song was, it touched her, and she was like, I feel like I could live another day. Yeah, that's true story.
Yeah.
And I'm like, wow. And then the people that would come on, I would be so tired, not from driving the bus, but from encouraging people, inspiring people. And I'm like, God, is this my calling? And then I didn't want it. It was way too much responsibility. You don't want it when you I was like, let me go open up this business. And then I opened up the truck, the fashion truck. Women would come in crying. I mean, breast cancer, lost the baby, whatever, and I'm like, God, I'm pouring into them. And I would just come up so tired. I'm like, well, let me just embrace it. This is obviously my calling. Yeah. So that's my core now, just really inspiring women.
It will chase you and find you.
It will find you wherever you at, on a bus, in a truck, in celebrities' boutiques. Right. It's true.
It's true. And it's okay to, once you realize it and you begin to value what you're passionate about and what you're here for and what aligns with who you are, it becomes a lot easier to attract other people that can align with it as well.
It's true.
Yeah.
It's true.
Like once we get out of resistance of it.
Yes. Look what Kenya said.
What'd she say?
She said, can you see?
The word submission makes, I think she said
She said that, okay, I'll be here on Wednesday.
Yay, Kenya.
Yes, Kenya, I look forward to meeting you.
Right? You have to meet, you'll love Kenya. She's
really?
Yeah, she's my love. Cool. Hi, Pam. I see Pam joined us as well.
Hey, Pam.
So the last question is, and this is a question that I ask in matchmaking all the time. With the men, I ask them this directly. What is my relationship with money?
I hear you ask them that.
I do.
Every single time.
Every single time. And I'll tell you why. When I talk to the women, I ask them what their relationship is with themselves. Because even though for both men and women, our relationship with money, and I don't mean our amount of money, our relationship with money is a direct indication of our relationship with ourselves. If you ask a woman, she is more apt to just be able to tell you directly what her relationship is with herself. She'll tell you, I'm hard on myself, I speak to myself in a certain way, I don't take good care of myself, all of that. She'll tell you that stuff. If you ask a man, they generally don't go straight to the emotional things. So you ask them what their relationship is with money and how they talk about how they deal with money, it reveals so much about how they feel about themselves.
I wouldn't even... How do they answer? Like,
so let's say some of them are very like, okay, so I'm really pragmatic about money, and so they like, you can tell that certainty is a thing. Like they need that certainty, that stability. So I have a very small debt footprint, and I have a 401k, and they'll be very regimented and pragmatic about it. So that you're talking to someone who their relationship with themselves is that they need to have certainty. They need to have structure in place.
How did you learn to translate that answer into what you're saying? Well,
it comes down to just studying it for enough time.
Lord,
reading about it.
What's your relationship with money? I don't have none. I don't know. Shoot.
I read like every book, like Napoleon Hill and all the books about money. Is that Jimmy?
Wait.
Oh my gosh, we're already at 8:59. Armed Radio people, we love you so much. We're going to be wrapping up with the Facebook people. Never forget, you're a love machine. If you ever start to feel like you're not getting enough, just make more and ask for candy. Armed Radio, we love you.
Yes, Armed Radio.
And this is our last time live with Armed Radio, right?
Oh,
we're going to do it Monday nights. Yeah, but keep coming Monday nights, Armed Radio. Those of you who are on the Facebook, we're going to go ahead on the Facebook.
Some things just don't change. The Facebook. She's coming out with her own app. The Facebook.
So yeah, the way that I learned